go deep, go dark here for a second.
The issue with Trump that's front and center.
Trust me, this tells you everything you need to know about the political machine and why they fear Trump's return. Let's get into it.
And the assassination baiting of a guy who spent his entire career wearing the cloth of the
quick follow-up. It would seem to me your biggest issue would be people clinging to power. Let me explain. Trump first and foremost, but you named names. You named Dianne Feinstein. Clinging to power. She was clearly a vegetable, but she wouldn't step down. Bob Menendez, clearly corrupt, clinging to power, right? Mitch McConnell, 80 years old, can't even function, clinging to power. Your biggest fear is Donald Trump clinging to power. You used the George Washington example. He's not King George. He's not Julius Caesar. Go deep, go dark here for a second. He clings to power. Let's say he actually wins or even doesn't win this next election, but clings to power, assumes he wins. How dark could it possibly get? What's your biggest fear?
There's a plan. It's on the table by elements at the Claremont Institute that seek to really dissolve the functioning of the government, the deep state, as they call it, within 6 months. There is no deep state. There's dysfunction, there's bureaucracy, there's inefficiency.
Steve, there's no deep state.
No.
Come on, Steve.
No.
There's no deep state.
What is the deep state?
Okay, so what do you think when you think about what World Economic Forum Klaus Schwab is doing and his campaign Build Back Better being the same campaign, identical word as Biden's? What do you think about when you see what some of these ESG guys are doing? You know, you got these, State Street, Vanguard, Larry Fink, BlackRock. They own all these stocks and these 88% of S&P 500 top 3 shareholders of Stearns.
Before we go any further, I just got to say this. The fact that someone can actually sit there and say there's no deep state, yeah, that's because they're terrified of Donald Trump dismantling it. They want to gaslight the public. Oh, there's no deep state, nothing to see here. Because if they deny it exists, then there's no pressure from us, the citizens, to do anything about it. But we know better. We've seen the unelected bureaucrats, the money, men behind the curtain who really run Washington. The weaponized intel agencies, the rogue regulators, the people who openly defy elected presidents and manipulate policy from the shadows. You can call it dysfunction, you can call it bureaucracy, but we call it what it is, the deep state. And the guy pretending it's all just a myth, he's got to be a globalist puppet. While he downplays the deep state, and ESG investors like BlackRock and Vanguard are out here telling corporations how to behave, what to say, and what values to push. That's not capitalism. That's not a free market. That's globalist control.
Institutional money, and they're imposing their power over these CEOs to do what they need to do for, And now recently they're stepping away from it. There's a lot of people today that I know when you're sitting here going through some of this stuff, and I want to listen to you because I want to know where your motive is. I want to know where your frustration lies. And, I want to comment on a few of these things and then, give a question back to you. You said Trump being, he was raised with a father with money. His father bailed him out, gave him money and all this other stuff, right? I saw kids who grew up poor, and I saw kids who grew up with money. The kids that grew up with money had more temptations to do stupid things than the kids who grew up poor. Now, what do I mean by this? They're spoiled brats. They're annoying. They're obnoxious. They're always getting bailed out. They never get suspended. If they do, the dad comes in and buys it out. You're not going to see a kid with a rich dad getting, what's the word, not suspended, when you're getting kicked out of school, expelled. It's just not going to happen, right? You're going to get these things. So the way I see it with Trump is, here's a guy that had access to all the drugs, anything he ever wanted to do. He had access to all the alcohol, anything he wanted to do. He had access to all of it. And you mean to tell me this guy never did drugs? He never did alcohol? And with all the temptations of the money that his dad had, he takes whatever the dad gave him, whether it's nothing, $1 million, or $14 million. I've heard all these 3 numbers, right? even if it's the 14 million that his dad gave him, you take that 14 million and you turn it into 2 billion, 3 billion, whatever the number is. Democrats will say it's closer to 2 billion. Some will say it's 3 billion. Let's say 2 billion, okay? You do that? How many kids do that? Not a lot of them. It's not easy to do. So for me, I understand the establishment thing, you know, and then to come to today when you said something about, you know, this guy got up on stage and he said, the only way the election will be accurate is if I win, right? Not if I lose. If I lose, the election is a fraud and da-da-da-da. Okay, fine, cool. Then the hypocrisy comes out is if he only said it and that was the issue, okay, what are you doing? Can't be saying something like this. Do you know how many videos were taken down for repeating what Hillary Clinton said in 2016, that the election was rigged? You know how many videos were taken down? 0. YouTube didn't take down any videos that they said 2016 election was rigged and Russia collusion. 0 videos. They all stayed up. Why? So think about the voter who, you know, you're like, this voter, right? This voter is kind of like, you know what? F you. Okay, you want to do this? I don't like seeing people being taken advantage of. That voter is sitting there and saying, "I'm sorry, dude. I voted for." Let's just say a person says that they voted for Hillary. Okay, but she said the same thing Trump said. 3.5 years later, she funded it, and now we're supposed to sit there and say he's the bad character, not her. You want me to believe that? I think there's a big community as well. I guess what I want to bring back to you is, you know how typically it's like Republican versus Democrat? Okay, great. Then sometimes it's liberal policies versus conservative policies. Great. And then sometimes it's, you know, anti-establishment versus establishment, right? And you said earlier when Trump was running, what Trump was able to do is bring public issues that nobody was talking about.
Patrick Bet-David lays it out perfectly and puts this guy in his place when he tries to mock Trump's success. Oh, he had rich parents. He got bailed out. Yeah, and with every opportunity to fail, he had drugs, could have took him down, partying, or blowing it all. Instead, Trump took millions and built an empire. Let's be real. Most people who inherit money don't end up on the Forbes. They don't become global icons, and they definitely don't become president of the United States. But Trump did. He put border security on the map. He exposed the swamp that both parties ignored for decades, and that's exactly why they hate him, because he made America first popular again. This isn't just left versus right anymore. This is the people versus the system. Trump broke the matrix. He exposed the media, the intel agencies, the donor class. He turned their secrets into slogans, and now their only move is to fearmonger. He's dangerous. He won't leave. Really? Hillary Clinton still says 2016 was stolen, and nobody got banned for repeating that.
The drug issue or the border issue, nobody was thinking about that. Boom, he put it front and center. Oh, damn, this is really an issue, right? He made a non-talked about issue, a talked about issue. Then we're all looking at it saying, this guy's right. Let's build a wall. No one ever talked about building a wall. Let's build a wall. Why shouldn't we build a wall? We never thought about this. We should do this. We should do that. So the part that gets me to question, I'm listening to you and I'm like, this guy sounds like a reasonable guy that he can reason. You can reason. You're sharp. There's a reason why all these guys have hired you over the years. And you say your parents voted Trump. They supported Trump even with the bomber. You had that list, whatever. Even your parents still voted for him. There has to be something deeper to get you guys. When I say you guys, you, Weaver, your partners, who at that time you're no longer with them. I know 2021 you resigned, but there has to be something where it got you guys to team up against this guy that's deeper than just, what he's talking about. There was a real, even the documentary, the 5-part documentary series that you guys hate this guy.
So why are voters still backing Trump? Because they see the lies. They remember Hillary crying Russia for 3 years. They watch Biden do nothing while America burned. We know the system is rigged, and we believe Donald Trump is the only one fighting to fix it. So in a nutshell, yes, I absolutely believe the deep state is real. The establishment is desperate to hold on to power, and Trump is the only one with the spine to take them on. If you're sick of the lies, if you're ready to rebuild America, like this video, subscribe, and share it with every patriot you know.